A day in the life of a tugboat captain. Before the sun even knows it's supposed to rise. Before the wind has decided which direction it wants to blow. There's a hidden world already awake. A world of steel giants, silent waterways, and men who guide thousands of tons of cargo with nothing but instinct, experience, and a wheel beneath their hands. This is the world of tugboats, and today, you're stepping inside it. Because this is a day in the life of a tugboat captain. A job that demands calm under pressure. A job where seconds matter. A job where teamwork can prevent disaster. And one mistake can cause one. So settle in. The engines are rumbling. The ropes are creaking. And our captain's day is just beginning. It starts around 5 a.m. Not because anyone asked, but because that's when a tugboat captain's body naturally wakes up. Sharpened by years of dawn watches and midnight emergencies, he rolls out of his bunk in a cabin that fits only what a seafarer truly needs. A few clothes, a pair of boots, and the heavy weight of responsibility that never really leaves. A couple of push-ups, a hot shower, and the day begins. He dresses like a man who doesn't know what the next 12 hours will bring, but knows he has to be ready for anything. Only one thing matters right now: coffee. Coffee strong enough to wake the steel of the boat. Coffee dark enough to match the sky outside the porthole. Except today, someone forgot the filters. Of course. He laughs it off. On tugboats, things rarely go smoothly, and complaining never fixed anything on the water. He makes do, like tugboat captains always do. A little improvisation, a little creativity, a lot of caffeine, and then he heads to the wheelhouse. The wheelhouse, where the day is decided up a narrow staircase, metal warm from the night engines, sits the wheelhouse, the brain of the boat. Before touching anything, the captain checks the day's orders: a tow to pick up, a ship to fuel, cargo to move, maybe a barge that's already running behind schedule. Every day is a new puzzle, and every piece has to fit perfectly. He scans the screens, checks the charts, tests the wheel and engines, and makes sure the radios are alive. Everything needs to be right. The margin for error on a tugboat is microscopic. With a deep breath, he gives the signal: let's cast off lines. The crew responds instantly. They trust him. He trusts them. You can't operate a tugboat without trust, and you definitely can't survive on one without it. The first problem of the day out on the water: peace never lasts long. Within minutes of leaving the dock, there's a delay. Of course there is. The barge isn't ready. A containment boom, a long floating barrier used to prevent oil spills, is still wrapped around it. Another company was supposed to remove it hours ago. Now the whole operation is stuck. Different companies, different schedules, different goals, all dependent on one another to make things run smoothly. This is tugboat life. You can do everything right and still be forced to wait. The captain doesn't curse, doesn't yell, doesn't slam the wheel. He just sighs and watches the water move under him. Finally, a small utility boat appears in the distance. The boom crew has arrived. With practiced precision, they peel away the barrier, clearing the barge for the tug. The captain calls to his crew: "All right, let's move her." And the real work begins. Risk, metal, and muscle tugboats don't pull barges anymore. Not like the old days. They push. That means the captain has to maneuver the tugboat behind the barge, slide into a narrow metal notch, and lock the two huge vessels together like puzzle pieces. Easy? Not even close. There's wind. There's current. There's barely enough space to fit. One wrong angle, one misjudged distance, and the tug could hit steel hard enough to split a hull. But this is what tugboat captains live for: precision, slowly, carefully, inch by inch. The crew takes in the lines. The tug slides behind the barge. The push gear is attached, tightened, and locked. The captain checks it twice, then once more, because lives depend on it. Underway, once secured, the tugboat begins its journey. The captain climbs to the upper wheelhouse, the elevated command post where he can finally see over the immense barge. Up here, the world looks different. The water seems calmer, the horizon wider, the dangers clearer, radar on, chart plotter on, radios crackling with static, and voices from other vessels. Then a call: traffic control. This is tug on the move. Everything on the water is coordinated. Every crossing, every turn, every mile of movement. A tugboat captain doesn't just navigate water. He navigates rules, timing, and other ships the size of skyscrapers. And speaking of that, there it is, a massive cargo ship heading straight toward them. The captain's voice stays calm as he calls over the radio. "I'll hug the far side," passing you port to port. The big ship acknowledges. Just two captains, two vessels, two lives responsible for millions of tons of steel and fuel, passing each other with nothing but trust and a few hundred meters of water. The approach. As the tugboat nears its destination, the ship they need to tie up to, the most dangerous part of the job begins. Approaching a floating giant requires absolute teamwork. One deckhand calls distances, another manages lines. The captain adjusts the engines by inches at a time. 5 feet, 3 feet, 1 foot. The tug edges into position with a precision that feels almost unreal. This is where experience matters, where instincts developed over decades guide every move. Finally, clang. The tug and barge touch the hull of the ship, softly enough to be safe, firm enough to hold. Lines are thrown, secured, tensioned, job complete. For now. The breath between chaos. With the barge secured, the crew finally has time for breakfast. And tugboat breakfasts are creative. Some days it's eggs, some days it's leftovers. Some days somebody tries a new gadget, like an air fryer that wasn't designed for a moving boat. They laugh. They tease each other. They talk like a small family that knows each other's limits, fears, and strengths. Because life on the water builds bonds stronger than steel. But the captain doesn't get long to relax. There are always more jobs, more orders, more miles of water waiting. As soon as one task is done, another appears. A new barge to retrieve, a tow to move, a call to answer. The return, the reset, the relentless cycle. The captain finishes his 6-hour watch, hands control to the mate, and returns to his bunk. He tries to sleep, but tugboat sleep is light, always waiting for the next alarm, the next radio call, the next shift. Before long, it's time to wake up again. The sun is going down. The sky is streaked red and gold. The engines hum like a heartbeat. He stretches, breathes in the sea air, and climbs the stairs back to the wheelhouse. Another tow, another ship, another night on the water. The cycle continues, not because he has to, but because he loves this life. The unpredictability, the teamwork, the responsibility, the quiet moments between the storms. Being a tugboat captain isn't a job, it's a calling. And that is a day, just one day, in the life of a tugboat captain. A life built on grit, on precision, on trust, and on the kind of courage most people will never see, yet rely on every single day. If you enjoyed stepping into this hidden world, if you want more journeys into the lives of people who work behind the scenes of our modern world, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button, and stay with us. Your support keeps this channel alive and the stories flowing. Thank you for watching. More powerful stories are on the way.